Hey guys, I had a request for this video. Someone asked me to show how to re-spool the trimmer head on this weed eater I've been working on. This is the Husqvarna 326 I worked on. I'll put the link to the video I worked on up here and you can check that out. And he said he had problems with restringing certain types of weed eaters, so I figured I'd show this type since it's the latest one I've worked with, and a couple other ones that are more common. This is a Red Max PT104 Trimmer Head, what this is. And yeah, it's a Husqvarna weed eater with a Red Max trimmer head. It works. It's got the left-hand threads. And the thread's right on there. It works fine, no problems at all. On this type, you got these two little clips here. You just press in right here. This one's a little stiff. You press that in, and you press this side in. This is what I like about this type. Your spool and everything comes off with it. So your string stays right in the eyelets right there. And of course you'd usually be empty, no string at all in it when you take it apart. If you do that, then your spool comes out. And this one don't have no markings on it. And I got it wrapped in here going clockwise, holding it, and it seems to be working because it bump feeds. So I'm just going to put the same piece of string back in. You see I still got quite a bit left, there's no need to waste it. And this is a I know I keep putting videos in there, but this string here is a rotary orange diamond string. I did a review on it. You might want to check it out. It's a pretty good string. It's rotary brand. But this is your spool on this PT104. You see you got this notch right here in the center piece. What you do, get you a piece of string probably about 8 foot long. Then put it in the end. Then come over and find the middle part. Make a loop. You take that in, hook it in that notch right there. You just wrap both of them in the same direction. Now certain models you wrap one way and the other one that way, but most of the ones I've seen are like this. This is hard to work with because the string done got molded where it's been in here for a little while. But you get most of them will have these little holders right here. You can just clip it in. Now if you notice, one of these is shorter and one of them is longer. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. Then on this one, you just put it in here like this, feed it through the eyelet, and do the same thing on this one. Now if you let go of the spool, it's going to try to unwind, so you got to kind of hold these together while you're putting it back together. Sometimes it will stay together and sometimes it don't. Then you just put these back in there. Sometimes this one wants to hang up. Just snaps back in and you're ready to go. Now about your string length here, cut the long one to be the same length as the short one. Then when you get ready to use it, just bump feed it and it'll cut itself to the right length if you got the shield on. If you don't have the shield on, you have to cut it yourself. But I recommend using the shield because it is a lot safer. Now let's look at a more common weed eater brand trimmer head with a double string, double line again. Then we're going to look at another weed eater head with just a single string. It's all similar, but just set up a little bit different. So let's look at the next one. This is the more common type you'll see. Even different brands is going to be more similar to this than that last one I showed. On these, you just pull it out like this. These are a lot harder to work with than that one I just showed. And it's basically the same thing as far as putting the string on there. And again, we're going to reuse the same piece of string here. And I got this set up for the thick string. But if you look, if you're running a real small string, you can just stick it in those two holes right there and then feed it around like that. You can do it like that, or you can use the notch just like we did. Since I used a bigger string, I had to actually file this out to fit this 95. This is 95 gauge string, 95 thousandths, but it's actually a little bit bigger since it's square. It's probably about the equivalent to a 105, I'd say. And this one's marked in the direction that you spin it, but it's not right. This is the one I showed in that video I talked about. And someone said, well, it probably means to turn the spool in that direction. It says wind line this way. You put it on there like that, it won't work. You got to put it on there backwards for it to work. And again, you put it end to end and get your loop. You put it in the notch there. and wind it clockwise. This may not be the right spool for it, and that could be why it's labeled like that. Then again, these have the notches to hold the string till you get to the eyelets, but my string's so big I can't get it, it won't fit in there. So what you got to do is feed it through the eyelets like this. And like this. And this one's got that little spring loaded thing right here, and it's hard to get it to start, but once it starts it goes right in. Sometimes you have to press on it a little bit, get it to start, and it goes right in. And your string will try to hang up here, just kind of twist it. And you can watch it, make sure it's not going to get stuck. Then it just pushes right back in and you're good to go. And the same thing with the string length. Just trim it till it touches the cutter on there if it's too long, or if it's too short just bump fit it once you get it going and it'll cut itself to length. So now let's look at the single line trimmer. And again, this is a Weed Eater brand, Weed Eater, and this is the type that don't have a clutch, so it just wants to spring back like that. You see it's a single line, there's no place for a second line. You just pull this one out, and this is about as simple as it gets, but again I had to modify this one for it to work right because I use a big string. This is Husqvarna string here, Husqvarna titanium, which is another good string. I just ain't used it for a while. I ain't used this Weed Eater for a while, it's been in there. We're going to put the same piece back in it. You can tell it's been in there for a while. It kind of molds to itself. Now this one, like I said, I modified it. I drilled a hole right here and I burnt the end of the string like that for it to work, and that's the only way you get the big string to work on one of these. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. These are supposed to have a hole in it through here. You just stick a string in it and you spin it in the direction that it came off of. And again, you see this one's pointing this way, but I had to wrap it clockwise for it to work. The certain ones are labeled wrong or the spool ain't right. I don't understand it myself, but that's two of them in a row that I've had to do that one. But yeah, if you got the regular small string, there should be a hole drilled in there. You just stick it in there, then you just start wrapping it in the direction it says. But in this case it ain't right. But anyway, you just go ahead and start wrapping it on there. This is hard to work with because it's already been on there. It's been on there so long. And you want to try to, even on the other type, you want to try to get an even wind as possible. It helps keep them from sticking and jamming up. If you ever take one apart, that like I talked about in the other video, after you try it don't want to bump feed, but when you take it apart, looks like the string's all stretched and tightened up. Try it the other way and see what it does, because then it usually fixes the problem. So once you get it winded back up, you just put it back through the eyelet. And again, if you're using the small string, you can use these hooks here, whichever size fits your line. You just snap it in there, then once you get it started, you just pull it right out of it. And that's all it is, and you just adjust it to your length of your cutter there, or just bump feed it out until it starts trimming itself in. I'm not going to take this one apart, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. This is off a Troy-Bilt brand 4-cycle, and I absolutely hate this one. I'll just be honest with you. It's got this thing you screw on there. See, that's what holds it on there. You got to unscrew it. And you always drop it right in the middle where you weed it, and then you lose it. Then the spring will fall out on you. It just ain't very good. And but the spool itself is the same. I got another spool out of one just like it. But I just don't like this design at all. I just wanted to show you that. And there's one other type. This ain't it, but I can't find it. I got one, but I can't seem to find it. I'm going to use this. I'm going to explain it with this one because it looks very similar to it. It's the type that you don't bump feed it. It's got pre-cut pieces on there, and there's two ways to do those. Some of them will have an end already on the string. You just kind of slide them through, and it hooks in there on both sides like that. And you get the other type. It's got like a channel through here, and it wraps around like this and comes out. You just got to feed the string through there, then pull it on both ends, and that's what holds it in there. And I hate that type. I'll be honest with you again. I like a bump feed weed eater, and I just don't like the type with the pre-cut pieces in there. It takes so long to restring them, and everybody said, well, you're wasting the string with the bump feed one. Well, if you're using it right, you're not. As long as the spring's strong in it, and you're not hitting it on roots and rocks or hitting it all the time, you're not going to be wasting string. You're actually going to be saving string. Because with the pre-cut ones, you're losing probably a 6 to 8 inch piece every time you cut it. Because it gets so short, it's too short to use. So you're wasting 8 inches of string every time you use one. That's why I like a bump feed. Well, guys, if you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment below. And like I said, there's a bunch of other designs out there, but they're all going to be similar to one of the 4 or 5 I talked about and showed. It's going to be similar to it. But if you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.